I purchased this cabinet off of Facebook Marketplace for $20 with a vision to flip it and turn a profit. But what actually happened is I spent hundreds of dollars and hours of my time, and I'm left with a cabinet that I have no use for. If you're thinking about flipping furniture, you need to watch this video first. I cannot even begin to quantify the number of videos, blogs, and websites that all spread the same message: making a lot of money flipping furniture. In fact, my honest opinion is you'll probably have to lose a lot of money before you make any money, especially as a beginner. My hope is that you'll all learn from my mistakes and do better than I did. For educational purposes, I've recorded all of my time and materials on a spreadsheet, which also spits you out a price based on time and materials. I want to step you through my process in flipping my own piece, just so you guys can understand how much work it really is. You know, you could probably just buy a spray shelter off of Amazon for like $30. And not have to do what I'm doing right now, but why would anybody do that? After purchasing my cabinet, I began the arduous process of preparing my cabinet for paint. This involved several rounds of dusting, degreasing, scuff sanding, and more dusting. God forbid you have to clean upholstery. In total, I spent 2 hours just prepping, and you're gonna notice a trend here. I then began disassembling the cabinet, pulling out all the drawers and taking off the hardware. After I had prepped the cabinet, I applied wood filler where needed, left it to dry, and came back to sand it smooth. This process took an hour, not including dry time. Spraying paint is definitely the fastest way, but you'll need a good quality spray gun, which I did not have. You can always brush or roll on paint, but it will significantly increase your time, and I've never really gotten a good quality finish with a brush. I wanted to use chalk paint since it was literally designed to go over existing finishes, and I purchased a paint sprayer from the hardware store. Upfront cost of the sprayer was about $120 and $100 in paint. Now, of course, the paint sprayer will continue to earn its keep, but it's not a professional sprayer, and I wasn't super pleased with the quality of the finish at the end. It took about an hour to set up a spray booth and about 5 hours to paint the entire piece, including shelves, hardware, and drawers. After the paint dried, I began reassembling the cabinets and adding some special touches to complete the look. Another 2 hours. Then it was time to stage, take photos, and list it. I generously allotted an hour in my time tracking, but between setting up, photographing, and editing, it was at least twice that. In total, I spent 11 hours on the flip. I typically bill my time around $30 an hour, so just to cover that, I should be charging at least $330. Materials was another $281 for a grand total of $611. And it did not sell. Ouch. With all that information in hand, these are the most important lessons I want to pass on to you. While I only paid $20 for my piece, it's been several months now since listing, and I've received less than 5 bites on it, even after lowering the price way below my cost. In fact, the piece is still sitting in my living room on furniture dollies. You can profit, you can lose a little, you can lose a lot. You can lose even more than I did if you lack the materials, equipment, and skills necessary to tackle your flip. The thing about flipping is that it's inherently risky. You never really know if what you made is going to sell, unless you know of others who have sold the same thing or are selling similar things in your area. Just like anything else, the more you do it, the better at it you'll become. If your market is anything like mine is in Tucson, it's garbage. Pretty much the only things moving on Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, etc. are bottom of the barrel pieces that people are either giving away for free or less than $20. People in my market are simply not conditioned to look for furniture more expensive than that. They are coming to these places for the deal and not to find their ideal piece of furniture. This is definitely not universally true, but after years of selling on Facebook Marketplace and the like, people will do almost anything to get you to drop the price to nothing and then ask you to bring it to them. So, how do you combat this? Knowledge. How do you acquire knowledge? Studying and experimenting. What does all that cost? Time and money? Money and time. Even after all of this, you might still discover that your market sucks like mine. If that is the case, it will take a lot more time and effort to find things that can move in your market. After running the numbers on my own piece, I can definitely see that if I had sold it for even $300, I would have covered my materials, my new paint sprayer, and had a little bit left on top. That's really not a bad gig until you consider the 11 hours of time it took me to refurbish, photograph, and list the piece. Now, of course, the paint sprayer was a one-time cost. And again, this does not include the procurement, sale, or time spent getting it out the door. This all changes depending on what you are flipping. I've seen many people online pull the bottom skirts off of some old vintage chairs, expose the wooden legs underneath, steam clean the fabric, and then sell those chairs for somewhere between $100 to $200 a pair for less than an hour's worth of work. Depending on the pieces you are picking up, you should be prepared to get your hands dirty. Some of these pieces might have been sitting in someone's garage since the 20th century. That's a lot of dust, and you are the one to deal with it. Sometimes it's going to require abrasive chemicals, definitely some PPE, and a willingness to tackle whatever you're gonna find. No, you don't necessarily need a truck or a trailer. You do, however, need superhuman strength or help to move larger pieces. I didn't have any help when I unloaded my piece, and my back paid the price for this. While you are trying to find help to get the furniture, somebody else is probably on the way to buy it. Ka-chow. And the really good stuff will sell quickly, probably to other flippers. There is a lot of oversimplification when it comes to flipping furniture. It's one thing to wipe a piece down with some simple green and screw on some new legs. And it's a whole nother thing to strip old finishes, stain and paint, and make modification using power tools and new materials. The former of these is being able to use basic tools. The latter of these makes you a maker or a woodworker. If these are things you haven't done before, you may not want to try them for the first time on your own dime on a risky flip. If you are confident in your skills, then more power to you. A lot of pieces are going to need more than just a wipe down, so you need to be prepared with the supplies and tools to handle that. And these, of course, carry an upfront cost to you if you don't already own them. If you go too far with your idea, you might jeopardize your ability to sell it. Sometimes simple is better, but even something as simple as a paint color can make or break a sale. My advice is to stick to commonly used colors, and you can also reference places like Pinterest, which is great for design inspiration and to see what's popular. I do believe this was a huge part of why I couldn't sell my piece. It isn't something that I would put in my own home, and that made it really hard to stage and take photos of. A lot of people are not sold on the furniture itself, but rather the vision of how it will look in their home. Think big picture. Above all, there is a chance that you might sink all of this time and effort and be stuck with your piece. Beyond that, it either has to go into long-term storage or stay in your home. Are you prepared to do either of those? Now, I don't mean to paint such a bleak prospect for flipping furniture, but I do believe it is important that you fully grasp these concepts before you try it. Judging by some popular creators who have had success flipping furniture, their skills and knowledge of the local market seem to be what sets them apart. They get really good at identifying what pieces require a minimal amount of work and can sell for a moderately high price. From there, it's rinse and repeat. If you can tap into this in your own local market, I believe your odds of success will increase dramatically.